We trust what we see. We look at a map of the world, hanging on a classroom wall or glowing on a computer screen, and we assume it is the truth. But what if that map is telling us a story that isn't entirely true? Before we carry on, please like, comment, rewatch, subscribe, and share this video. Most maps we use today are based on the Mercator projection. It was created in 1569. Its purpose was to help sailors navigate the seas. It worked beautifully for navigation, but it was never meant to show the true size of continents. It was a trade-off: accuracy in direction for distortion in size. To make a round Earth flat, you stretch things. The farther from the equator, the more stretched the land. Countries near the poles like Greenland and Russia look enormous. Greenland often appears roughly the same size as Africa. Greenland shrinks dramatically next to Africa, but that's a grand illusion, a trick of geometry. This visual lie has been with us for centuries. It has quietly shaped how we see the world. Some places seem more significant, others less, just by how much space they take on paper. This isn't trivia. It changes thinking. When a place looks small, we may see it as less important. We might underestimate its diversity, its complexity, and its role in the story of humanity. We've been looking at a funhouse mirror and calling it a portrait. So, the next time you glance at a world map, remember its secret. Long before we had satellites or GPS, our ancestors also felt the need to map their world. They wanted to understand their place in the cosmos. The oldest maps we have ever found are not printed on paper. They are carved into stone and etched onto clay. One of the earliest known maps is the Babylonian map of the world, created around 600 BC. It is a small clay tablet. It shows Babylon at the center, surrounded by a few other cities and a great circular ocean. It was not a map for sailing. It was a map of their known universe, a blend of geography and mythology, a picture of their reality. These ancient maps were not just about location, they were about meaning. They were diagrams of existence. The Yimeng County petroglyphs in China, which might be 4,000 years old, could be celestial maps, charting the stars instead of the land. These early cartographers were not just drawing lines. They were expressing their relationship with the land, the heavens, and the sacred. Each map is a window into the mind of a civilization. It tells us what they valued, what they feared, and how they saw themselves in the grand scheme of things. Now let us return to that illusion on our modern maps. The greatest victim of the Mercator projection is Africa. On the map, it looks deceptively manageable, but the reality is staggering. Africa is a titan among continents, a landmass of immense proportions. Let's put it into perspective with some simple numbers. The continent of Africa has an area of over 30 million square kilometers. This is a number so large it can be hard to grasp. So, let's think of it another way. You could fit the entire United States, all of China, India, Japan, and you would still have room left over for most of Europe. Think about that for a moment. The United States, a country that spans a continent, fits into Africa more than 3 times. China, a nation of immense size and population, fits comfortably. The entirety of Western Europe, with all its famous countries like Spain, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, could be placed within its borders with space to spare. Western Europe, Spain, France, Germany, the United Kingdom. The familiar world map has lied to us. It has shrunk a giant down to a more convenient size. This visual misrepresentation has profound implications for how we perceive the continent and its 54 distinct nations. This isn't just about land area, it is about the incredible diversity that such a vast space contains. Africa is not a single place. It is a mosaic of thousands of cultures, languages, and environments. It has sprawling deserts like the Sahara. Our story of civilization often begins Mesopotamia, Egypt, just a few thousand years ago. But what if the story is much, much older? What if advanced human cultures were thriving tens of thousands of years before the first pyramids were built? The evidence is there, scattered across the globe. We are discovering that the timeline of human ingenuity goes back much further. Let's travel back in time to 40,000 BC. This is not the dawn of humanity, but a time of complex societies and remarkable art. In Australia, some of the oldest continuous cultures survive. Aboriginal people have been living on the continent for at least 65,000 years. Around 40,000 BC, they made sophisticated rock art, not primitive sketches, detailed representations of their world, their beliefs, their stories. They were astronomers, mapping the stars. They were engineers, with complex fishing systems. They were artists, leaving a lasting legacy. In South America, people were also making their mark. Monteverde in Chile, archaeological site. Evidence of settlement dating back at least 18,500 years and possibly much earlier. These early Americans were not just hunter-gatherers. They lived in organized communities. They used a wide variety of tools. They knew medicinal plants. Pioneers adapting to a new continent. Building lives long before we thought. Back in Africa, the cradle of humanity. In the Blombos Cave in South Africa, there are shell beads and engraved ochre dating back roughly 75,000 100,000 years ago. Evidence of symbolic thought, evidence of art. So what does all of this mean? What happens when we put these pieces together? The distorted map, the true size of Africa, the deep ancient history of human culture all over the world. It means our standard view of the world is incomplete. It is like looking at the night sky through a keyhole. We see a few familiar stars, but we miss the breathtaking expanse of the entire galaxy. We have been taught a simplified story, a convenient narrative. But the truth is far more complex, far more interesting and far more inclusive of all humanity. When we correct the map in our minds and see Africa for the giant it is, we can no longer view it as a single monolithic entity. We are forced to appreciate its immense scale and diversity. This geographical correction is the first step. It opens the door to correcting our historical perspective as well. We start to ask new questions. We gain a richer, more accurate, and more humbling understanding of our planet and our place within its magnificent unfolding story. Thanks for watching. Check the hundreds of videos on the Kiso channel, and love and serenity wherever you are.